Alright, fuckers, welcome back. I'm finally doing warming up because I'm garbage, that whole shit. Again, it's been like almost a week and a half, right? It feels like a very long time since I've done this, but yeah. Like, subscribe, put me on the background, all that fucking shit that I keep saying over and over to no avail. Actually, it's worked a little bit, which is annoying. You fucking pieces of shits keep forgetting. All you need is a reminder, right? But, I'm not gonna be as hateful today. I'm only gonna be a tad abrasive. But yeah, I'm going to be doing form wrapping, which is something Antonio from ArtWad. Again, it's all ArtWad, right? Vast majority of my practices and Broken Draw. This is technically his 25 exercises that I'm incorporating as my warm up, right? But yeah, Antonio specifically states form wrapping is a great skill to constantly practice. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I just farted. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Uh, but yeah, keep me on in the background and give me retention. Uh, Form wrapping, I guess let me explain it so I can teach it to myself, and by proxy, you, right? So essentially, form wrapping is just you have a shape, let's say in this case, a nice little sphere, right? And form wrapping, from my understanding, is just you're just wrapping essentially the its contour around itself. What does that mean? That means if we have something like this, right? If let's say I have something like this, and I'm just making sure I follow the contour, right? And I'm wrapping this shape. It's basically you're creating a plane that wraps around the form that you've established. Right, now how would this look? Would it be like that? Something like that? Right, let's come out. Something like that. So now we have this sort of shape wrapped around the sphere. Again, elliptical shapes are the most difficult. So perhaps my example here isn't the best. But it's, again, what I'm trying to showcase, right? Like, again, we could have something that comes around like this. Then it's jutting down around here. Right? And this skill requires a lot of thinking, for sure. Something that we all know is difficult to do, but that's basically form wrapping, right? You're just wrapping a plane on your choosing around the contours of the shape, like of the base shape, right? It's extremely difficult. Like if I were to do this without like this underdrawing, right? The sphere as a head, as a some sort of like construction to really think beyond or inside of, then if I were just to like imagine the ellipse, right? That'd be even more difficult. Because imagine me doing something like this, right? You have to keep in mind how the ellipse is going to change. Kind of have to calculate everything as you go about it, right? So yeah, extremely difficult. And even again, this isn't perfect whatsoever, but that's basically what I'm going to be doing today. And I'm probably going to focus more than anything specifically just on spheres, because if you can, again, in my opinion, like if you can do a sphere, you can really do anything, right? So what I can do right now is try to break it down into more simplistic shapes, right? If we do something like this, then maybe I could do something like and the most important thing, as always, is to keep the form in mind. So that's where this all comes back down to, right? The form. If you can't keep the form in mind, you've basically already lost the shape. So that's why I'm gonna keep trying to have that in the back burner. But again, I've already sort of fucked it up a little. Why? Because this is a really, really long. This is not a sphere. This is not a perfect ellipse anymore, right? It's much longer. But that's the fun of it. Like, in my opinion, that's the fun of it. So let me keep going. I've technically already started my session, right? So mainly just foam wrapping anything spherical, cylindrical, right? That's what I want to focus on. It's very difficult, and most people do this with an underdrawing. But I don't like, again, I'm not trying to make it easy for myself, right? So again, if I just think about a sphere right here, I'm gonna obviously try to do it the easy way right now, which is just simple drawings, right? Because this technically is still form wrapping, right? I just have to think about exactly what part of the ellipse or the sphere I'm wrapping around, which section of it. Again, this comes around, something like this. Okay. But now maybe I can even do something like something like that, right? And that can come around like so. I think that's already a fuck up on my end, but it's okay. Because that's how we learn, right? And maybe I could just do something like this. See? Something like that. Again, I was trying to like make a cutout here, but it didn't really work out exactly how I wanted it to. But it's extremely difficult to keep a fucking sphere and all its contours in mind, right? That is actually probably the most difficult thing to do, so I'm gonna keep trying. I actually don't even know how people do this without keeping it in mind. Because in all of Antonio's examples, he does it without or with the underdrawing. But I guess I'm trying to be better, am I not? But yeah. Yeah, obviously I just have to keep the underdrawing in mind. Extremely difficult. Okay, I think I've got something here, which is nice. I just have to think about how I'm gonna make this sphere more realistic, hopefully. I don't think that works. Kind of lost it here, right? But maybe it can be salvaged if I do something like... Something like that. No, this actually needed way more of a curve, I think. Right. But it's okay. I'm gonna rest my brain. This is actually really fun. I think this is gonna be the next level in being able to visualize and really internalize a shape. Again, in my opinion, if you can get to the point where you're visualizing a sphere and then just adding sort of planes wrapping around it, which is basically what form wrapping is. I think that's the best way to explain it, right? They're planes wrapping around a base shape, right? And they can look like anything as long as they follow the contours of that shape, right? It can be this, but as long as it's following the contours of the shape that is technically invisible but residing beneath, which is in this case a perfect sphere, then it is correct from my understanding, right? But let me rest my brain, and I think this is what I'm going to work towards, is just really being able to internalize this sphere, right? The thing is, this skill is necessary for the eye section of the portrait roadmap in Artwad, which is actually I can try right now, because you need to know form wrapping to be able to do it, right? Which is basically it's an eyelid wrapping around this sort of invisible sphere, right? It's like this. Yeah. And you got obviously the contour of the sphere itself, but that's basically what it is, right? That's the eyelid, I guess. Something like that, right? From what I vaguely recall, because I skimmed through the lessons earlier on, right? But you know, this is the sphere. This is how the contours are wrapping around it, right? In this case, maybe you have something like that as the other side. But that's why the skill is important. That's why contour wrapping, the fuck, form wrapping is really important. But let me keep going, right? And I have to keep visualizing it. So if I have something like this, we could even start off with something like that, right? You know, it's the whole point, I think. It's just to keep these shapes relatively confined to the base shape underneath. And again, the curves are important, which is also what I'm working on. Right? And again, if I want it to be realistic, it should be wrapping around the other side as well, like so, right? And maybe we can even have it wrap around like so. See? So now this is kind of like curving. This is the other side, it's curving, and it's kind of ending at the sphere. This is a bit better. I think this is a bit better. And again, like the smaller that sphere you visualized, right, the base is, the easier it will be to create shapes on top of it, because right, is it such you're not having to focus on such a large surface area. So all little meta skills inside of it, but that's just kind of how I'm trying to explain it to myself, right? Again, if I were to just it's like roughly this big for now, right? If I were to just do something like same thing I tried doing here. Let's see if I can make it slightly better. No, and then we can do something like it's okay. Again, this is so tiny. That's my only, I guess, not frustration, but qualm I have with my own drawings right now is I do definitely draw very small. I don't know. I don't want to keep it that way forever, right? Okay, that was a fuck up. Maybe let's try having just every now and then we could try having the base drawing actually visible so I can cement this a bit further, right? I did actually not, I did lose my focus here quite a bit, so something like this. Fuck. I think I fucked something up. Maybe this was too short. That, right? That's a bit better. Yeah, man, ellipses or just anything elliptical is definitely very, very difficult. That's okay. It actually does follow the form. So I think I have a better understanding roughly, because yeah, it needs to be wider. That's for sure. This is informing me how much wider it all needs to be. So again, let's try that. Just try to visualize the ellipse. Yeah, form wrapping is definitely one of those really important skills Antonio talks about. And again, if I can do it in the hardest version, then I should have an easier time afterwards, right? Okay, something like that. And this now should be going a bit backwards because now the ellipse is the sphere is sort of finishing itself off. Okay, and then we can have the tiny one. It's ending. Right. Which is basically what I was doing here. Something like that. Not bad, already huge improvement. Because based on the example I've provided for myself here. So yeah, see, underdrawings do help. But let me rest my brain, and then we'll continue onwards. I know, I guess my commentary is very dead today. None of the whoopity whoopity whoopity, I'm Vicky type of shit. So, I mean, I'm not asking for forgiveness or apologizing in any sense of the word, but I do notice that I guess the entertainment value is down. So, I guess tough titties, whoever's listening still at this point. That's why I put the background music. It's my cop out, right? If my voice doesn't soothe you, the music will. But that's the whole point of this channel, right? It's an art progress channel, not an art entertainment channel, right? Progress is slow, progress is consistent, and progress at times is quote unquote boring. Not for the person actually progressing, obviously, but for the person, maybe for those listening, right? Obviously, it's gonna be boring, I guess, a little for you fuckers. So that's why it's called an art progress channel. Because I'm not here to entertain. Wait, what the fuck? I had it and then I lost it, I guess. I should have been more like this, maybe? But even then... Uh, I know the mistake I made here. I was trying to wrap it around a cylinder. But actually, cylinders are pretty fun to wrap around because you can do something like this. Right? I know Antonio shows a lot of cylinder wraparounds as well, but they are pretty nice. And you definitely have a lot more, I guess, leeway when it comes to wrapping around cylinders, right? Even here, I could do something like this, you know? And because, again, like, because spheres are so difficult, anything lesser than a sphere is immediately a lot easier. See? So I can just create something like this. And that's quote unquote some sort of armor. Who knows, right? I can just... Ta-da! Foam wrapping on a cylinder. Much easier than any fucking anything with the sphere. But let's go back to a sphere, right? There you go. Something like... Curve could have been better, obviously. But... something maybe like also... something like that. Right. I'm not sure if this makes too much sense. This is supposed to be the right side, and it's kind of curving around, but I don't think it does. Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't. This is coming about a bit too low. So I could try something like this. Right, try something to sort of re-establish it again. Right. That usually helps. Something like that, maybe? I don't know. We'll leave that one for now. Right. God damn it. Gotta keep imagining that sphere, which is the most difficult part. Let's do it again over here. I'm not a rapper, though. Bars. Absolute bars. Let's see. Something like this, right? Probably could have made this curve a lot more prominent. This doesn't need anything. But maybe... Jesus, really gotta work on the curves. And then... there you go. Okay, that's not bad. Very simple, of course, very, very simple. But again, I'm trying to keep it relatively simple so I can keep the overall as perfect of a sphere or an ellipse as possible. Right, so this one does look like it's wrapping around a spherical shape, which is good. Right, obviously I made mistakes here, but that's fine. Let's try again. Yeah, form wrapping is very difficult. You know, and it's only been what, half an hour? Yeah, see, time definitely slows down when I do the hard shit. So, I'm used to doing hard shit. See, is that the fucking Vicky fucking personality everybody wanted? Or apparently that one person really hated, or two people really didn't like. But my friend told me this: if you have haters, that's when you know you're on the right path. So it's time to say even more out-of-pocket shit, right? Well, I don't even know if I say anything out of pocket. I don't even know what that word means, but the youngins say it. Okay, let me just do like a little example of what it could look like for a box, right? Because I haven't given any examples for a box. So See, this stuff is much easier. Then I can just bring it back like this. There you go, something like that. Now it's wrapped, right? Maybe not the best example, but the point is, like, you see, if once you can do something like a sphere, it's very easy just to imagine a box and then sort of just make contours defining that box, right? You know, let's decide that's over here, so we can do something like this. See? And then we just have this box like shape. Something like that, right? It's cut in at certain places, cut out at certain places, but it's very easy to tell that this is the general box that it's all wrapping around, right? This box right here. So yeah, contour wrapping, very, very good, very, very fun, but also very difficult. And the whole point is to make it difficult, right? You want it to be something that you're like, fuck, my brain's hurting. And I don't think I did enough of that yesterday when I did the gun drawings, right? The imagination. So I really want to push my brain today and really, really visualize the entirety of this. Already kind of fucked it up here. I feel as if I can make it work if I just, again, it's all about like following the contours, right? If you can follow the contours, then anything can look believable, even if you have made mistakes, right? So there's this, right? And how can I make this look better? Doing something like this, right? Same thing here. Something like that. See, I fucked up the curve here, but that's okay. Like, that happens, right? And that's just something else I need to work on, right? See? Look at that. Right? Now, even if it's not perfect, and again, this is way too, this is too thin, of course. But you can see relatively, maybe this should have been a bit further out. But now it does look like it's wrapping around a spherical shape, right? So slowly but surely, you know, we went from this and sort of this wonkiness to slowly but surely things are looking a bit more consistent in terms of what they're wrapping around. And that's the goal, right? Slow but sure. And yeah, it's gonna be good because I'm probably gonna do this warm up. Well, again, with my new way of blocking things up, I'm basically just gonna spend as much time as I want to on that one thing, right? So I'll probably do this for another few hours, right? I.e. a few more videos, quote unquote. So to really get it down. Basically, I need to stop fucking saying shit. I'm gonna do something for a specific amount of time, or I'm gonna do something, because I keep changing shit up, and you know, but my viewers watch me for consistency, right? You guys all listen / watch me because you know I always stick to my word. So I need to specifically retcon that. From now on, I'm not going to stick to my word. Just expect me to practice whatever I want for however long I want until I get bored of it, and then I move on to the next thing to stimulate my fucking dopamine junkie addict mind, right? Which is hilarious because I should have chosen this hobby if I wanted dopamine. This is the fucking, this is the definition of a delayed gratification hobby. But, I digress. I know it's uneven. That's something, a mistake I've already come to terms with. And I think this is how like armor and shit is done, right? Should have been more curved, but it's okay. Again, the whole thing is to not only imagine the ellipse, but to keep imagining it as you create the lines on top of it, right? So yeah, this is literally how armor can be created. Now I think this is a general principle that's used, right? Again, I think Antonio did a great job of bringing it to bringing what the fuck am I trying to say? I think Antonio and Arwad, especially obviously Antonio, did an incredible job of giving it a terminology, like verbalizing what this is called, which is the sort of technique he quote unquote came up with, which is form wrapping, right? Because anybody can do this technically, and I'm sure they've been doing it for years and years, but Antonio is the one who's bringing it to the masses, in my opinion, right? Okay, that's a bit off, but Artwad is the platform, and I see some people on Reddit who didn't really like it. So if Reddit didn't like it, it has to be shit. But honestly, I don't understand, because they're saying shit like they just didn't, like it felt like it didn't give enough information for them to learn it properly. I think the big critique there is just the fact that they definitely need more of the grind nodes, which are coming out. Hashtag soon, as they say. But yeah, I think that's a fair critique completely. That's one of my critiques as well, because the old beginner courses were much better at that, in terms of giving you the grind. But now Antonio has confirmed in the Discord that not only will there be grind nodes, they will be tiered in terms of heavy applications of the fundamental knowledge, which I'm extremely excited for, right? Because right now I'm kind of making shit up as I go, but again, structure is really, really helpful in understanding how you want to go about things. Also, this wasn't bad in terms of what I was trying to do, I don't think, right? Then let's do something like this. Yeah, this is a great exercise for form wrapping. Right. Again, right now the main goal is to understand what it is that I'm drawing, right? Exactly where I'm wrapping it around. But I think I'm slowly gaining the ability to visualize better. And the operative word being slow. Because you have to be slow when it comes to this. If you're not slow, then you're not in flow. Bars. But no, going slowly is what's gonna help you really understand what it is you're trying to draw, right? I could do something like, so if it's like this, then it's, if that's how it is, it'll be something like, there you go. See? Already a bit better. Like if we compare this and this, I think this one definitely has more form and depth to it. But again, I think my lines are a bit messy right now, so it's something just to focus on. And now, instead of doing the entire ellipse, I'm just going to try focusing on maybe one part of it, the sphere, not the ellipse, and create a shape out of that. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But the goal is obviously like, okay, this is kind of the ellipse I was thinking of, but obviously some things worked, some things didn't. I still need to keep in mind the curvature more, right? Like even if I'm doing something like this, curvature has to be kept in mind at all times, right? And it's an extreme curve, let's not forget. It's a pretty extreme curve. You know? Because we have to remember that the ellipse is like this. You know? Just something like that. Right? But overall, again, like the drawing at this size, I was creating things like this, but now I'm actually creating, being able to see it a bit better. Well, how enjoyed that. There's that part of the whole Vicky personality is never gonna die. My fucking ability to not enunciate or articulate myself, right? But yeah, let me just do a. I want to fill in the gaps with essentially parts of the ellipse to really sort of reinforce to myself that I do see it better now, right? Okay, so that would be something like, there you go. You see? Already that's starting to look more three-dimensional. Good, good. I'm getting it down. It's just thinking really, really, really hard, right? Sometimes it'll be very uncomfortable. Other times it will be, sometimes it'll just come easier. I think this is one of those times where it's, this level of, I guess, cognitive effort is coming about a bit easier. But, or maybe I've just gotten better at expending this level of cognitive effort in general, right? But at the same time, yesterday during the gun thing, I felt as if I wasn't trying hard enough. So, just gotta keep going, right? Over here, there's not enough space, so why don't we do a cylinder instead? Something like... And then Getting a bit better at doing sort of curvy shapes, so it doesn't hurt to experiment more with that. Right, and we can always say that it's a bit thinner, you know? And then to carry on with the curves, we can... Again, I don't think this makes sense. It doesn't really follow the contour properly. Let's do something like this. Okay, yeah, but that doesn't make much sense. Something like that. And this is obviously going around. There you go. Cool. So definitely getting better. Obviously, I need to draw larger, but yeah, form wrapping is really, really good skill to practice. Purely for just visualizing the base form, right? Because everything we do is based off of visualizing this base form of like a box, sphere, ellipse, right? It's all based off of this shit. You know, even the fucking sphere is just, or the ellipse is just inside this, right? So the better we can just see this in our minds at varying sizes and complicated manipulations, the better it is to actually act on the hand-eye coordination necessary to bring it to life, right? It all starts with the mind, right? It all starts with the cognitive effort. But actually, let me rest my brain, and then I'll fill out the rest of this here, and then we'll do the back page. And I think, yeah, okay, what the fuck? It's already been 47 minutes. Jesus. You see, there's just like that weird gap where I'm like, I don't notice the time that flies. But let me rest my brain. I digress. All right, cool. Yeah, I've come to a point in my quote-unquote art journey that I've really just come to enjoy the process, right? Some days more than others, of course, but as a baseline, even yesterday, even though I felt like I wasn't trying hard enough, I still just enjoyed putting down pen to paper. You know, I enjoyed expending the effort that I could, and that's the whole point of growth mindset that I've tried to embody, right? Which is just focus on the effort and derive joy from the effort, because everything else, literally everything else, is not in your control. You know? And that's what I'm trying to, I guess, not teach, because I'm not really much of a teacher. Although when I get better, I will attempt to teach in my own way, right? Don't get me wrong. I still want to impart knowledge or whatever, but more than anything, I do want to foster a welcoming community, right? That's the whole point. Is I want to foster a welcoming community of artists and autists. That's what we all are, right? There you go. Something like this. And something like that. So form wrapping, I think, still makes sense in this context. Although this should be closed off. I think it makes sense. I mean, again, the lines, like these curves that I've been drawing, aren't the best, right? Doing something like that doesn't look the best, but if I'm able to sort of bring it. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm gonna leave that. But okay, I think I should be done with this page. Let's just do a couple more cylinders. Cylinders are very fun to do form wrapping around. There's like a million ways you can do it, and none of them are really wrong. Right. See? This is still a form wrap cylinder. Because that's kind of like what I was basing it off of. Right. And we can even do something like... See? Something like that. No. It's not gonna be perfect, and I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming for an understanding. That's what I'm aiming for right now. See, even if this... See? And the understanding is derived from trying to make sure that no matter the lines I create, they still make sense regarding the form of it all, right? See, now it kind of makes more sense. Just a little. Maybe, maybe not. But anyways, let's turn the page. Let's practice some more ellipses. No, not ellipses, spheres, right? Form wrapping spheres. How much time do I have? Oh, the fucking thumbnail for this page is like, what the fuck? This guy only drew 2 things. Not even. But that's the way it is. Things will never be the same. There you go. Not perfect by any means, but I kind of lost the sphere here. Okay, I think this should be possible, right? And then... Yeah, I definitely lost it here. If I just changed this up a little, it would have made more sense. But... let's try to think about this. Something like that. That doesn't make much sense actually either. Alright, let's leave it. That's a whole mess. I can try it again here. The whole point is obviously to be able to see the ellipse, right? So something like this is actually better, right? Okay, so that's already the ellipse that I've established. Okay, something like that. Then something like this maybe. It kind of goes around. This over here. And I don't know if this really works. Something like that. Nope. That also looks a bit awkward at the end of it all. But that's okay. Alright, these things happen. And again, I'm trying to be a bit more daring regarding the sort of shapes I'm making, right? Let's try that again. Over here. Yeah, this is why I can see myself doing this for a while, because it's fun. It's just really fun. Something like that, right? Where it's kind of wrapping it around, and then I could do maybe there you go. And we all know I struggle with this fucking angle when drawing. Oh, it's a bit of a wonky. Something like that. Right, and we can. There you go. Not amazing, because again, I lost the form of the sphere around here, but it's cool. I'll do one more, I'll rest my brain, and then I'll do probably another few more. Right, I'm okay with going a bit past an hour. It's all Gucci. I do have to transfer my videos today, though. My phone's almost full again. Alright, let's see. It's just one of those things. Like you genuinely, it's very normal. At least I believe, to lose the shape of the ellipse over and over and over. Right? It happens quite often, and it's your job to essentially pretend like it's not happening. Just keep drawing. Pretty sure that was incorrect. Yeah, that was pretty incorrect. And then we have something like, pretty sure that is something that can happen. Right? And then we can do something like this is coming around. This can just wrap like that and be something wrapping around very simply. And then this one can wrap around like so. Okay, again, not perfect. It's more of a compact sphere, but I think I'm getting the general idea down. Probably need to make it more clear though. Right now I'm kind of finaudling, as they say. It's just very cramped. Like a lot of, it's just not very readable, right? Quote unquote. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's not readable. Okay, I know that much. So let me rest my brain, do a couple more, and then I'll call it until later tonight. Okay, a wunderbar. All right, let me just do like two more. Let's try a big one now. Okay, so I've established that. Trying to establish this. Something like that. Okay. Looks like it's part of a sphere, which is important. Now I just need to there you go, get like this other side. Like so. But maybe we can even have it something like it's coming around to meet this. I don't fucking know. Probably fucked that up a little. But and then something like that, maybe. It's difficult. It's extremely fucking difficult. Because I'm still trying to keep the damn form in my mind, right? And then we have something like this, I would like to believe. Although maybe that may be a little incorrect. Yeah, see, this ended up being way too long. a bit too long, but the idea is there, which is what matters. Slowly but surely, I'll be able to refine it a bit more. Right? And I did lose the bit of the sphere at the end. I mean, honestly, you lose it so many times that it kind of ends up coming as just something you work with, like a variation, right? The goal is obviously to never lose it, but that is difficult. The only way you're not gonna lose it is if you really establish it early on like that, right? Something like that. You could even do got this like part of it, and then I could just do something like this maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that works, but we can try. Kind of, right? Kind of, but not really. It's coming around this way. That's the back. It's a bit uneven, but I'm gonna leave it at this. And this is still good progress if we think about how I kind of went from this and these, right, like this, not really understanding it that much, to it is a bit better. Like obviously I'm pushing myself a bit more, so I think these are definitely a step in the right direction. The goal is obviously to be able to make any combination of any shapes just around an ellipse. Once you can do, or around a sphere, once I can do that and I can visualize the sphere consistently, which is the main goal, right? Visualizing the sphere consistently, that will be a huge upgrade, like a level up of sorts. But yeah, did I even beg for likes in the beginning? I think I did. Here's my really half-assed begging: like, subscribe, or fuck off my channel, right? Ideally all three after you've watched this twice over or listened to it twice over. Of course, I'm not going to be too strict on your preference. I just prefer that you watch the entire thing, and that is in order. So yeah, do it, you piece of shit. And with that being said, as always, fuck you for watching, keep drawing, and please give me money.